Jessica is feeling lonely. Not because all her boyfriends keep dying in tragic accidents, but because her fiancé cheated on her in the last trilogy. It was part of his ruse to become a millionaire. And suddenly, I'm wishing I was reading that trilogy instead of a cheerleader drama book.
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
Jessica and the cheerleaders are celebrating after a football game when a blonde girl enters the restaurant. Everyone immediately stops talking to stare at her because she is the most gorgeous girl ever. Naturally, Jessica hates her on sight. The girl gets a soda and leaves in a car with cheerleader license plates. And let me guess, she's going to try out for cheerleading squad. Jessica will try to sabotage her with a wacky scheme, which will backfire spectacularly, leaving the new girl as head cheerleader and Jessica out in the cold. The book's title is kind of a spoiler in this regard. Jessica can't go long without having a boyfriend, so Ken Matthews starts being nice to her. After about 3 pages of build-up, they play on the beach and make out. Bruce just happens to be at the beach with a spotlight, 'cause, where else are you going to take a spotlight? He shines the spotlight on Jessica and Ken kissing, so now the entire town knows they're a couple. Elizabeth starts to freak out at this point because she used to date Ken Matthews. They went out in book number 38, Jessica Marries the Drama Cow. No, I'm kidding. The truth is Elizabeth has never dated Ken, but who cares about continuity? Let's pretend they were a big couple. Their secret relationship took place 80 books ago. Even though that was about 7 years at this point, Elizabeth still has unresolved feelings for Ken. She starts pining for him, to the point where she can barely function in normal society. Fortunately, she acts like that most of the time, so no one really notices. To nobody's surprise, the hot new girl is attending Sweet Valley High. She is Heather Malone, and she quickly makes friends with her great attitude, fashionable wardrobe, and gigantic bank account. Jessica insists on hating her, and she assumes that everything Heather says is a sarcastic, backhanded compliment. Jessica tries to insult Heather at lunch, but all her friends like Heather, so Jessica comes off looking like the insecure, jealous brat that she is. Heather asks to join a cheerleading squad. Jessica says that first, she has to complete a series of impossible challenges. The impossible challenges end up being rather simple, and they all backfire on Jessica. First, Heather has to sit with the chess nerds, but she makes friends with them. Second, she has to wear an ugly outfit, but everybody thinks it's fashionable. Third, she has to sing in front of the whole school, but she has a great voice and becomes even more popular. Elizabeth has problems with Todd because she spaces out whenever he talks to her, and whenever they kiss, she thinks about Ken. She feels bad and talks things over with her favorite teacher, Mr. Collins, the guy who went out with her mother that one time. Because obviously, the guy who dates married women is a relationship guru. Jessica fails to convince the other girls that Heather is bad news, and Heather joins the squad. Jessica fumes when Heather comes up with a better version of one of Jessica's cheers. To make things worse, it's revealed that Robin is moving to Denver because her dad got a job there. But Robin doesn't live with her dad. Continuity! The cheerleaders vote to have Heather take Robin's place as the cheerleading co-captain. Elizabeth feels guilty and awkward when she sees Jessica going on dates with Ken. It's so traumatic she forgets that she's the good twin, and she starts sabotaging the relationship by constantly criticizing Jessica's clothes and warning her to be careful around Ken. We get 2 chapters of this and also 2 scenes where Elizabeth talks to Ken. Only her feelings are so strong she can barely say anything, so she runs away crying. When Jessica asks what just happened, Ken overreacts and he stares into space. So he still likes Elizabeth, and we get to drag out this drama for another book. Heather starts cheerleading practice a half hour early without telling Jessica. So at the next football game, the girls do a bunch of new cheers that Jessica doesn't know. Jessica is furious, especially when a newspaper reporter gives Heather all the credit for winning the game. Like she was the one out there playing football. Heather gets nasty and criticizes the girls for not being good enough. She kicks the 2 worst cheerleaders off the squad, and she forces everyone to follow a strict diet and exercise regimen. Every time Heather does stuff like this, Jessica expects the other girls to form an angry mob and destroy her, but no, they all love Heather's ideas, especially her idea of wearing skimpy uniforms. I am honestly surprised that Jessica never forced the cheerleaders to wear skimpy outfits. Elizabeth moons over some kissy pictures she took with Ken on a date. Jessica finds the pictures and she's shocked. She confirms that Elizabeth and Ken were a secret couple by stealing and reading Elizabeth's diary. And that's it. We're on the second to last chapter, but Jessica puts off dealing with this until the next book. At the next game, Heather leads the girls in a cheer that Jessica doesn't know, again. Jessica is so angry she quits the squad. And the last chapter is her moping about how awful her life is. The end. Post-book follow-up. This is just like Runaway, where the clickbait title is an event that happens at the very end of the book, where it can't possibly affect the overall story. Do you want to see what happens afterwards? Too bad! There's only 5 pages left. You get nothing, because the book strung out the inevitable confrontation as long as possible. I imagine if this was a standalone book, the girls would track Jessica down in the last chapter, apologize, and Heather would quit the squad forever to make Jessica the permanent captain. I was curious, so I looked up a summary of the trilogy. In the next 2 books, Jessica makes her own cheerleading squad with Blackjack and Elizabeth. They compete against Heather in the state cheerleading competition, and they win when Heather's disqualified for cheating. Hooray for victory due to a technicality and not victory due to talent! As for Ken, who cares what happens to him? Seriously, the Elizabeth-Ken storyline was a big load of nothing. She complains about Ken and Jessica for pages upon pages, but she does nothing about it. Even talking to Ken is too much for her to handle. I hate how such a bold, self-confident character becomes so weak-willed and spineless whenever a guy is involved. If she is that obsessed with Ken, why hasn't this come up before now? For the first half of the book, Heather is nice and sweet. There's no reason for Jessica to hate her so much, aside from the fact that the trilogy needs a villain. Even when the other girls ask, Jessica can't come up with a single tangible reason for hating Heather. Clearly, Jessica is just petty and paranoid. But halfway through, Heather turns into a total jerk, and Jessica's hate becomes justified. I kinda liked it better when Jessica was making things up for no reason. My favorite part of the book was when Jessica pushes Heather into a pool at a pool party. Heather gets revenge by inviting Ken to a private party. Nothing comes of this, which is why I didn't mention it in my recap. Still, it was amusing, and I would have been okay with the book if it devolved into Heather and Jessica performing pranks on each other. Overall, I'd say the book is average. The Jessica storyline was interesting, but the book is brought down by a dull Elizabeth storyline and some repetitive scenes. I don't know, I seem to say this about most trilogies, but it feels like they stretched out the story as long as possible just so there could be 3 books. I honestly would have preferred it if they combined this with the next book and had a faster-paced story instead of 2 slower-paced stories. I give Sweet Valley High number 112, Jessica Quits the Squad, a 5 out of 10.